Alright, welcome to the channel everybody. I am Aesop Grimm, and this is the continuation of my journey number 1 compendium for Elden Ring. This is Chronicle number 4 within that compendium, and we are playing as Fia's Blood Assassin. It is a dagger bleed build, and I am going for the Age of Duskborn ending. First and foremost, let's do the content briefing. That's what these intro videos are primarily about. I never want anybody to get surprised by what they're about to look at. So because it's not my first playthrough, it's an abridged briefing. So the two places I go are ESRB and Common Sense Media. At esrb.org, which is the official rating agency for video games, they give it mature 17+ for blood and gore, language, suggestive themes, and violence. Common Sense Media says it's good for age 15+. They give it 4 out of 5 stars. Personally, I'd give it 5 stars, but they give it 4 out of 5. With a short blurb here, intense fantasy has brutal and bloody medieval style combat. Okay, so if you want more info, both of those sites do have more to offer. So again, that is esrb.org or commonsensemedia.org, and search for Elden Ring, and you can find more written on that, including opinions by the audience. And that should wrap that up. Okay, so let's press on to what we are doing here. So for those of you who don't know, I have never completed a playthrough of Elden Ring, but I got real close in my last character, and that was the last Tree Sentinel build, which was done by Frowny Gaming on YouTube. So I followed his build. But because it was a first playthrough, the way that I was approaching it was I was hitting these zones and I was doing as much as I could find to do. And in order to try and make sure I got all the content and that I got a good setup for a New Game Plus playthrough, I would then, after doing everything I could see to do, I would go to Fighting Cowboy's walkthrough guide and do anything that I missed, which was really good. It almost got me to the very end, but once I got into the mountaintops of the giants, I ran into one of the very few points of no return that this game has. And because I was trying to do things on my own before I referenced the guide, since it was my first playthrough, I ended up passing that point of no return well before doing what I wanted to do, and it locked me out of certain zones. It completely changed my game state. So I stopped it right then and there. So I still have not technically finished the game, but I've gotten real close. And because I've gotten real close, I feel very comfortable now just simply following Fighting Cowboy's guide first and then going and doing what he says. And in order to avoid that repeat mistake of jumping ahead, I'm wanting to follow his guide very closely and in sequential order. Okay, so why am I telling you that? To help explain what we're doing here. My playthrough has been organized by zones so far. So for example, we just finished up the Lower Caelid zone. Before that, it was the zone of Liurnia, and before that, it was Storm Hill. So my guide has been it is not a guide. My playthrough has been organized by these major zones. At this point in time, in his walkthrough guide, Fighting Cowboy does several what I might call mini zones. They're kind of their own thing. And there are several of these between the last point that we just finished up, which is defeating Star Scourge Radahn, and the next, what I would call a major zone, which is the Volcano Manor. So I had a choice to make. Either I could find out how all these fit into the other major zones and try to make them part of those chronicles, or, basically do them whenever those chronicles came up. So for example, I haven't done Mount Gelmir, but the recusant quest lines, which happened several videos earlier, I might shuffle down and include with that Volcano Manor playthrough. But that violates the general idea that I'm wanting to stick very closely to his guide so I don't make mistakes. So I had to think of another way to do that. And I think what I've come up with here, and this is why you see the thumbnail that you do, I design all my own thumbnails. And so you see there are 3 what I'd call mini zones here. So this chronicle is going to cover Nokron, Siofra Aqueduct, and Nokstella. And within that, the another video of his, the Ancestral Woods and Curse Mark of Death, fits right in there. I think it might be part of Nokron. It could maybe be part of Siofra Aqueduct. But those are areas that belong to one of those zones. So I've named it, the chronicle that we're doing is covering, I've categorized it by the areas we're doing. So Nokron, Siofra Aqueduct, Nokstella. The next chronicle after this one will be Lake of Rot, Deeproot Depths, and Lich Dragon Fortisax. And after that, it will be Recusant Questlines, Wyndham and Old Altus, and Sellen's Questline. And then we will be into Mount Gelmir and Volcano Manor. And that one will just be called Volcano Manor. After that will come Altus Plateau, and we're back to more normal kind of chronicles at that point in time. Well, the way that I label them, these major zones. So on that note, one question I do have is, I thought that this thumbnail turned out really nice. I think it looks terrific. I'm not really sure exactly what appeals to me. I think the colors. So the text and the outlining blends well with these colors, and the backdrops, the pictures that I found to represent each of these zones look really interesting to me. And then how I was able to stack that into a group of 3. I just think that the entire thing looks nice. But one question I do have is where it says to the left of Siofra Aqueduct there, you see Intro and Chronicle 4. In the future, where it says intro, that'll be the episode number. So it'll say the word episode, and then it'll be 1, 2, 3, etc. And I'm wanting to know, does that show up clearly for you guys when on your YouTube homepage in the thumbnail? Or do you have to actually click on the video and expand it in order to read that text? Because this is the only video that you'll be able to see these thumbnails full screen. They're just thumbnails for the other videos. They're not actually included in the recording of the video. So it'd be nice to know if that's legible to you guys. Other than that, I think I've said enough. I think I covered all bases. And so these are the areas we're going to be working on. I do think it's going to be half the video size as normal. So I'm anticipating 6 to 7 videos. But we're going to be banging this stuff out. I guess the last thing I'll say is that what my overall goal is. We have DLC coming. We don't have a release date yet, but it's coming. I want to get through this entire journey number 1 and be into New Game Plus prior to DLC releasing. And what would be really nice is if I can do it several months prior. By wrapping it up several months prior, it just gives me a chance to take a break, work on some different games or something, and then that way I know that I'm fully energized for that DLC, and we can hit the DLC along with my first New Game Plus playthrough. I think that would just be fun and interesting. We'll do it the same way that I've done here, as far as I will pick out an archetype that we're going to pursue as far as a class, and I will also pick out an ending that we're going to go for, and that's how we'll organize the playthrough. And kind of, it gives us, I guess, guidelines to steer the character, right? But that's the plans from big picture point of view. Get this done and knocked out and finished. As quickly as we can. We still have a lot to do, a long ways to go, so it's not going to be done anytime soon, but maybe by the end of summer would be cool. We'll just have to see how it goes. So one brick at a time, and I'm having fun doing it. I hope you guys are having fun watching it. Again, I'm Aesop Grim. Thank you for coming by the channel. I hope you like what you saw enough to take a look at a few videos and see if this is up your alley or not, if my commentary style is your viewership style. But regardless of what your opinion is on that, wherever you're at in the world, I hope all is well for you and yours. And for those of you who do decide to stick around, I'll see you in the next episode where this story continues.